Hello. The second class in the ABCs of security is public relations. Before we begin, however, I should mention that the previous lesson, because of its brevity, was worth 5 points. This one, another short course, is also worth 5 points. Lesson 2, Public Relations. Task: demonstrate how to be a good representative of the company in the eyes of both outsiders and company employees. Conditions: given a copy of the Titan Employee Manual and post orders, real or a sample. Standard 1, discuss and demonstrate the elements that make up good public relations and why they are important. Standard 2, describe the various publics a security agent may deal with during his or her duty. Standard 3, explain at least 4 items which make up the physical impressions and why they are important. What is public relations? For security agents' purposes, public relations means the way the agent acts and looks in the eyes of all the people he or she comes in contact with. Why is public relations important? The uniformed agent on duty is a representative in 2 senses. First, the agent is acting as a representative of his or her employer, of the company's management, its policies, its corporate personality. Second, the agent is a representative of the security field in general. If agents want the public to think of security practitioners as capable, skilled, intelligent professionals, they must impress people as being all of those things. What is bad public relations? Most of this lesson will concentrate on good public relations, but in order for you, the agent, to better understand, we'll start off with an example of what not to do. The following statement comes from a security chief in a Sunbelt state. There is a watchful audience of security critics that includes such judges as police officers, legislators, and most dangerous of all, media representatives. If you really want to harm the public image of security, screw up in front of a television camera. Examples of harmful public relations include such things as beating up a protester with a riot baton, using foul language in the presence of those who will willingly make the most of your obscenities, or allowing yourself to be observed in acts of carelessness, stupidity, immorality, or criminality. Harm can just as irreparably be done by such smaller things such as sleeping on the job, sloppy grooming or dress, a bad attitude, failure to act quickly and efficiently when action is necessary, or derogatory statements that others can hear and pass along as typical examples of what security officers must be like. Watch your language. Obscene, racist, or even discourteous remarks can be damaging to the image of your company and security in general. Never abuse your authority. Certainly you must be firm, efficient, and aggressive to some degree, but you don't have to be belligerent or eager for physical confrontation. There is a term in police work that applies equally to some members of the security profession: badge heavy. Don't be badge heavy ever. You can perform your duties better by applying tact than you can with an arm lock. Don't threaten, intimidate, or use your visible signs of authority to push people around. Not only will they resent such behavior, but someday you may run across somebody who will either sue you or wait to catch you off duty and take even more basic retaliatory measures. If you are an armed officer, keep your hand off that gun, unless its use is the only way to prevent death or serious injury. You are not Wyatt Earp. One instance of carelessness or improper use of a firearm can have disastrous consequences. Not only is the physical danger a matter of staggering proportions, but the potential tarnish to the image of the company and its security force is unbelievable. The security agent's publics. The public relations specialists of giant corporations speak of different publics whose opinion is important. For example, the corporation's customers may be one public, its stockholders may be another, federal lawmakers may be still another. The general newspaper reading, television watching public would be another public, the largest of all. Security agents as well have different publics. The major ones are visitors, employees, media personnel, and telephone callers. First, visitors. A security agent is often the first representative of the company that a visitor sees. The impression an agent makes is, in a sense, the impression the company makes. An agent's words and actions speak for the employer. Security agents should do all of the following: greet visitors with a smile, show sincere desire to help them, courteously log visitors in and issue them badges if required, answer visitors' questions. In most places, any agent who is going to meet the public should know at least these basic points of information: the company's name, the line of business it is in, the names of top executives or major department heads, the opening time of any office that deals with the public, the Human Relations Department, for example, the location of its different departments, whom to call for additional information, number and extension. Be attentive. Listen for the visitor's story without interrupting. And lastly, show patience and tact. To be tactful is to have a keen sense of what to say and do so as to avoid offending anyone. Next, employees. The second important public that concerns security agents is the business's employees. Agents represent the company's management to employees. The agent's duty is to enforce the rules, but if possible, not make enemies in doing so. Any specific regulations at our workplace may require agents to check employee ID badges as workers enter, to enforce no smoking rules in designated areas, to check parcels and lunch boxes as employees leave in order to make sure no unauthorized material is leaving the business. In all these roles, the agent's goal is to be firm but polite. Here are specifics of that behavior. When an agent asks an employee for compliance with a rule, the agent should be polite, not provocative. As an example, the agent should say something like this: "Sir, the company's regulations expressly forbid entry through that door. I'll relay the message for you, but company rules do not allow you to go inside." And not something like this: "Look, buddy, you ain't going in there, see? Okay, I'll tell him when I get around to it, but if you try to get past me, there'll be trouble. You got that?" Unusual familiarity or casualness can also weaken an agent's authority. Agents should cultivate a military bearing. In all cases, they should make it clear that their job is to observe rules and make sure others do also. At the same time, it is not necessary to be cold and mechanical. An agent can be pleasant without trying to be one of the guys. A courteous and helpful attitude is always appropriate. However, agents should never apologize for doing their duty. There are several reasons for this. First, apology gives the listeners the impression that the security agent really doesn't want to do what he or she is doing, and it may prompt them to argue in hope of getting the agent to relent. Secondly, apology gives the impression of weakness, something people accustomed to getting their own way will lock onto in seconds. Third, an apology where none is warranted can cause people to become belligerent out of proportion to the situation. While agents should not apologize, they also should not argue. If an employee or anyone else is absolutely determined not to follow a rule, the agent's only alternative is to call for assistance. Agents should know whether departmental policy indicates calling for a fellow agent, a supervisor, or a security office representative. The behavior of agents should be an example to employees. So, agents should not discard litter anywhere but in a designated trash can or wastebasket, not touch desks, phones, equipment, and so forth anywhere outside the security area unless directly authorized to do so, refrain from personal use of the business's telephones, typewriters, copy machines, and so on. Concern for the safety of people in the night shift should prompt agents to escort them to their cars in the dark parking lot. The news media. Agents should know the company's policy about giving out information to reporters or TV or radio personnel. If there is no stated policy, most companies favor the following. Security agents should not answer questions that any visitor might ask. The company has its own designated representatives to give out information. They are the only people qualified to do so. The security agent's job is to politely refer the media to the proper person for answers to their questions. Telephone callers. When security agents answer the telephone, they should be courteous and helpful, just as when they deal face-to-face with visitors or employees. When answering a call, the agent should give his or her name and either the company name or the particular location in the plant or business as appropriate. The agent should then politely answer basic questions. If the agent is asked to relay a message, he or she should write it down to make sure it gets to the intended recipient. Security agents should never answer the phone with a blank, mystifying hello or yeah. As discussed in another lesson, the agent answering the phone should give his or her company or location and name as a minimum. The image. With all publics, visitors, callers, employees, security agents should behave in a manner that will reflect credit on the company and on security as a profession. Agents should show each of the following qualities: dependability and impartiality, courtesy, patience, discretion, tact, and attentiveness. Physical impression. An important part of the impression an agent makes in the public is his or her physical appearance. When a person walks away from an encounter with a security agent, he should be favorably impressed by everything about the agent that has come to his attention. Here are some specific rules. Proper uniform. Agents should appear on duty in the prescribed uniform. It should be clean and neatly pressed, and shoes should be shined. In general, the uniform cap, if worn, should be worn properly, not turned around or cocked backwards. The badge, if agents wear one, should be worn on the outer clothing so that it can be seen by anyone the agent meets. Agents should normally be clean-shaven. If regulations permit beards and mustaches, these should be neatly trimmed. It is important to the agent's health as well as public relations for the agent to bathe or shower daily before coming on duty. Agents should be sure when their work brings them into close face-to-face contact with people that their breath is not offensive. And physical condition. A security agent who is either grossly overweight or thin to the point of emaciation is suffering under a handicap. Not only can either condition reduce the agent's physical effectiveness, but also has a psychological impact on others. Security agents should not necessarily strive to be built like offensive tackles, but they should strive to be in the best possible physical condition for their body characteristics. In other words, their weight should be in proportion to their height and build. Maintenance and safeguarding of uniforms and equipment. The appearance of an agent's uniform and accessories counts as another important part of the physical impression an agent makes. The uniform should be clean and tidy, neatly pressed. One way the agent can ensure this is to have enough sets so that when two are being cleaned, he or she always has a spare. If agents are required to buy their own uniforms, they should invest in wash and wear, permanent press materials. They should buy the best quality their budget will allow. Inferior material that tears or wears out easily is not a bargain at any price. When not in use, uniforms should be kept on a hanger, not tossed over a chair or kicked under a bed overnight. Keep the uniform tidy. Agents should brush their uniforms daily with a lint brush. If the agent keeps a pet, wrapping sticky tape around the fingers and dabbing at the hair that clings to the material will keep the agent from looking as though he or she moonlights as a dog catcher. For removal of most stains, a garment should be soaked in cold water overnight, then washed in the normal manner. Another method for removing stains is to rub the stain with a wet bar soap, then let it stand overnight before washing. Agents should strive not to resemble the guard whose breakfast could always be determined by the stains on his tie. Leather gear. Shoes or boots should be shined daily. And if belts or other accessories are made of leather, weekly use of saddle soap, paste polish, and a brush will keep the gear looking like new for years. If the accessories are of nylon or other similar material, a weekly brushing will keep them looking sharp and professional. Metal accessories. All badges, collar insignia, whistles, and other metal accessories should be polished and kept free of tarnish, stains, and other signs of neglect. Weekly application of a good metal polish and a quick daily wipe with a polishing cloth will keep these items looking like new. How to submit your quiz. First, open a Word document. Type your answers on the Word document and save it. Don't forget to number your answers. Attach the document to an email and send it to the operations manager and to the CEO. Here is your quiz. There are 4 questions. Obviously, each question is worth 25 points. And that completes Lesson 2.